Hello and welcome to episode 122 of Kaiju Curry House, the fortnightly show that gives you a healthy dose of kaiju goodness every other Monday. I'm your regular host, Paul, and today I'm joined by Michael Long, the CEO of Foolish Mortals, indie game development studio in Canada. So, Michael, thanks very much for coming along. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Paul. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm glad we managed to get our time synced up at last. But yeah, great to have you here. Tradition on the show, bit of an icebreaker for the hosts and the guests, is the pun question of what have Kaiju been up to. So I'm going to ask you, Michael, what have Kaiju been up to?
Well, I actually played some of the Earth Defense Force video games recently. Are you familiar with those?
Oh, nice. I played them. I can't remember which platform. It might be in the PS Vita.
They've been around for a while, and they're mostly all the same. There's quite a few of them, but they're all the same. But in those missions, like the basic enemies are giant ants and giant spiders. So that's kind of a fun idea. Where what if, I don't know the numbers. I guess I could Google it, but there are a lot more bugs and insects than there are people. But if all the bugs were giants, I think the people would have a pretty tough time if the bugs were hell bent on eating us.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm trying to remember the game now. You play as the military, don't you? Trying to stop these giant bugs.
You play as a small human soldier. Now, you do have giant weapons, so you're blasting these bugs pretty good. They come in hundreds at a time. But certainly, it would have been tough to get that point technologically if the bugs were that big in the first place. Now, I do believe in those games, though, the bugs are literally dropped from alien UFOs to invade the Earth. It's a very unique strategy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because when you're saying about, the amount of bugs on Earth, if they suddenly grew large, then you would be outnumbered. But I suppose if they've been dropped off by the aliens, we stand a better chance. Yeah, I do seem to remember the games are a bit, I don't want to say, they're
janky.
It's a bit janky, isn't it? But that's part of the charm when the physics plays up.
It's very fun seeing hundreds of ants scurrying up and down buildings, like not even attacking you. They're just like running around while you and your buddy just blast them with giant weapons. It's pretty cool. It's very janky. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so what platform are you playing that on?
I played that on Steam for PC. I think it was Earth Defense Force 4.1. Yeah.
Okay. I think I played 3. I think it was 3 that was on the Vita. And I think they did a spin-off that was a shooter, like a side-scrolling shooter as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that was called Iron Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But yeah, I've been meaning to play some more of that. I think I bought it on PS4 on the sale because they're literally dirt cheap in the sales.
That's right.
Just haven't got round to playing it yet. But no, that's a good shout. That's definitely, and it's multiplayer as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So up to 4 people can blast bugs. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds a lot of fun. Okay, would you like to try and ask me the question?
Sure, Paul. What have the Kaiju been up to?
Right. Well, I haven't really been playing any bug killing games, unfortunately. Although I did recently see a few. I think there was a Sony press conference and Xbox press conference, and they've shown loads of cool titles that have got lots of fantastic looking baddies of dragons and all sorts of creatures. So I'm gonna have to try and find the top 5 monster games coming out next year or something soon. That would be a good little feature to do.
Definitely quite a few in the works. There's lots of Monster Hunter, Dragon's Dogma 2 is big creatures and
Dragon's Dogma. That was a good
lots of Dark Souls style games with big bosses. Yeah.
No, they do look very good. But as for right now, I've just been watching the final season 3 of Ultraman on Netflix. Now I really like season 1. And season 2, I was a bit put off. I think there was just too much focus on the Ultramen and not on the aliens. Whereas the first one reminded me more of like the Guyver, which if you've seen was like a 90s anime.
I know the Guyver,
yeah. Okay, yeah. So season 3 seems to be, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but it's got a better balance. And there seems to be something going on where Ultraman's being controlled. So he's blacked out and he's like destroyed the city, and now people are against Ultraman because they think he's almost like a terrorist or something, but he's obviously being controlled by an alien or something. But no, it's a promising start so far. So I look forward to finishing The rest of that season, I think it's only 8 episodes, but
Cool.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah,
The only
that's
thing
an
that
old
I know
series.
some people haven't liked about it is that they're people size, whereas Ultraman in the traditionally grows large in the TV shows. But I never watched the live action, so to me, this is my Ultraman, so I'm fine with him being small.
Okay, yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe by the end of it, they'll make him large just to make some of the fans happy.
It is fun seeing them knock down the models of the town as they stomp around. That's always cool.
That's it. I mean, this is because it's all animated. I guess it's just I think it looks better than the live action one because there's no constraint on budget, is there? You don't the aliens can look as cool as you can draw. So
That's right. No rubber suits.
yeah. Well, I know that's some of the charm being a fan of the old school Godzilla films. But hey
Yep.
ho. Yeah. So that's what we've been up to, and I think we should move on, obviously, to the main reason that you're here with us, which is Kaiju Wars. So I was browsing the internet and it came up with recommended games when I was like on shopping, and it came up with Kaiju Wars, and I thought, well, that sounds a title that is something I would like.
I hope so.
Yeah, so I looked at the screenshots, watched a few videos, and I obviously reached out to you to see if you could come on the show and tell me and our audience a bit more about it, really. So I guess in a nutshell, how would you describe Kaiju Wars?
Sure. Kaiju Wars is a turn-based strategy game based on Advance Wars and Into the Breach, where giant monsters come to wreck up your city, and you play as the very weak human military that must try to stop them and slow them down.
Okay, so it's based on Advance Wars, the Nintendo, there's the Game Boy.
Yeah, you'll pump out a lot of units, and they're going to step
game.
on a lot of your units. Your units are individually very weak, and you have to slow down the monster. And actually, you literally want your units to get stepped on. When they step on tanks, the tanks fight back and deal counter damage and actually slow the monster. That's their best use case, is being stepped on.
Okay, so can you actually kill the kaiju, or is it just to slow them down to evacuate, or
If you can reduce their hit points to 0, they'll run away. You'll get a point where you need enough points to win the mission, but they'll run away, and then they'll come back stronger than before in a few turns. You cannot permanently kill them. They'll always come back.
Oh, right. So how do you win a level? How do you complete a level?
You need to buy enough time to earn points. Most of the time, this will be your scientists are working on an anti-kaiju serum in their laboratories and science buildings. They'll generate science, and then if you get enough science, you'll get points. Downing the monster also gives a point, and you just need enough points to win the mission and then move on. But by that point, half your city or more will already be destroyed.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we can't save them all. There will be casualties.
That's right.
Okay. Brilliant. And the graphic style, it's not it's an isometric style, isn't it? I take it it's grid based, and your units will have different range of movements. Is that people could move perhaps 1 square, but a tank could move 2.
Movement units have different movement ranges. Most vehicles move 2. Planes can move 3 and 4, and there's different types of units. Absolutely, most of them attack by being adjacent to the monster. There is an artillery unit that can shoot further.
Okay, and is it because I remember in Advance Wars, it was very much like a rock paper scissors approach, wasn't it, for different units against? So you could have, or like the Command and Conquer strategy, there's always a anti-air units, or there was a tank that would be good against other tanks, but not very good at killing enemy infantry. If you're
there's a little bit of that.
Kaiju?
There are flying kaiju, so the main difference is flying and ground kaiju. As you say, against ground kaiju, tanks will be effective, but against flying units, tanks can't shoot flying units. So you'll need to bring in the anti-air units and the fighter jets.
Okay, that makes sense. And are we given a heads up before we can start amassing our army which kaiju will attack us?
The first turn you're not sure, but the second turn you find out very quickly. So it's not too much of an issue not knowing what's popping up yet. Though we do mix up sometimes. There's multiple kaiju in a mission, and they could show up in the middle, so you never know.
Oh, okay. So there's not just one. There could be more than one kaiju in a level.
There could be more than one.
Oh no! So that I would be amassing this huge army to fight the kaiju I know is there, And then probably, as you say, like a flying kaiju would come and just decimate all my units.
Possible.
Right. Okay. So that's where the strategy's got to come in. I can't just put all my eggs in one basket. I need to have different units.
That's right.
Okay. Gotcha. So how many kaiju are there in total?
There's 5.
5 different kaiju. Okay, and a mixture of, did you say, land and air?
Yep, and sea and burrowing. Yeah, we got them all.
Oh, burrowing as well. We've got a graboid in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you need a radar car to detect the tremors as they dig underground and move around, and then they're hidden.
Okay. So if I didn't build that unit to detect them, I could just be.
You could be, but you'll build one pretty quick. The advisors tell you to do it. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose I should ask how steep is the learning curve here? Because I'm sure there'll be a tutorial mission, and then are you thrown in the deep end?
We've got the first 4 or 5 missions are each teaching different aspects. I think the tutorial and onboarding is very good. You should play it yourself.
I will do. I literally just saw this game at the weekend, so emailed you quite quickly. But I have got it on my wish list, so I'll probably be playing it, I imagine, next week or so, and then I can give a full review of it. Speaking of which, I was going to buy it on the Xbox, where I believe it's on all platforms, but I just wanted to check that with you.
Yeah, it's on PC. It's on Steam, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation 4. The PC version is the best version.
Right. Okay. Is that just because PC is the master race? You can upgrade them; they'll be more powerful.
Using the mouse is definitely the best way to move the units around, and it does have Steam Workshop for uploading custom maps.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so users can generate their own maps for this.
That's right.
I didn't know that. Maybe I'll have to get it on Steam then. Because it's the retro artwork, is it relatively? It wouldn't need a high spec PC to run. It should be okay. No.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, so I don't need to go treat myself to a Steam Deck and play it on that.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, right. So let's talk a bit about how the game came about. I take it you're a fan of giant monsters in some way or form? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite monster movie is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 1974. That was a good one. Yeah. But this game actually, I made this game in conjunction with my brother. He was actually making a board game prototype that he wanted to just work on over the summer. And after playing it, I was like, Jeff, we need to make this a video game. So it helped doing some of the design work on paper first. And this actually came about even further. The board game was inspired by, there's an old NES Nintendo game called Godzilla 2, War of the Monsters, where you do play as the human military and you fight the monsters. And it's really janky. So Jeff said, you know what? I want to make that, but good. And that was it.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't think that got a UK release, Godzilla 2, but I do know of it. As you say, yeah. So that's a turn-based game again, isn't it? Where you got to defend or defeat Godzilla.
It had some really weird stuff where when you attacked, these roulette wheels would pop up that would determine the attack or defense of the attack damage of the attack, and random symbols would pop up like stars and skulls and sometimes even hot dogs. And we didn't have the manual. We had literally no idea what like hot dog meant. Critical hit. And you're like, well, I don't know what that means. Okay. It's really janky.
Really janky. Okay, but good. It must have made an impression. Or maybe it's just because it had the Godzilla license that it was like, oh, this is if done rightly, this could be good.
That's right. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Most Godzilla games do have you play as the monster because very understandable. Everyone likes being the big stompy monster. But that's certainly not the feeling of like the original, actually like 1954 Godzilla movie was all about the terror of us being small and Godzilla being huge. So we kind of wanted to bring it back to that idea of the humans are small and insignificant and the monsters, these big, basically forces of nature that can't really be stopped.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you were the player and took control of force of nature, it'd definitely be a different feeling than being small. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're overpowered if you're playing as a force of nature.
Yeah, there's no fear there.
No. I think there was on the Sega Saturn. There was a strategy game. Again, a turn-based strategy game where you controlled the military and you had to fend off Godzilla and all the other monsters. But it was only available in Japan, and I tried to play it. Obviously, I didn't understand a word of it because it's all in Japanese, and I managed to get to level 3, and then I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but I just couldn't complete it. But again, it was a really good idea because again, it's turn-based strategy. You're fighting Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla and all the others, but I don't know. I don't know if it was janky or just poorly designed because you had to click on each individual unit to move them, rather than being able to just select all at once and say move and attack. It was like click 1, attack, click 2.
Well, our game you do have to click on the unit to move it.
That's right. I should say the other one was real time.
Oh, okay.
So if you can imagine Godzilla's coming towards you, and this is with it's not on PC, it's with a joypad. So you're using a D-pad to try and select a unit.
That sounds frustrating.
It was very frustrating. I say good idea, but bad execution. It should have been on PC and not on a console.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, that was it. Okay, so your favourites. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, where you've got 5 kaiju in this. Are they inspired by any of the Godzilla or Gamera or Pacific Rim
definitely
films?
Inspired by the Godzilla monsters. Yeah,
Godzilla monsters, are they? Right, okay. So what I would say, what are your favourite monsters, but would that be giving it away?
Oh, you mean favorite Godzilla monsters or favorite kaiju?
I should just. So what monsters inspired the kaiju in this game?
Well, obviously there is an aquatic monster that shoots a laser beam. The guy in the background you're actually looking at.
Oh, okay, so is that No, not Titanosaurus. I was just trying to think. Anguirus.
It's mostly based off Godzilla. We do sometimes change the looks of some things, but we've got a variety of different inspirations for the monsters. But they do kind of follow some of the good archetypes of their abilities because they do have a nice spread of Godzilla comes from the water. Rodan is a flying firebird phoenix.
Sure.
Baragon is a tunneling monster.
Okay.
But we do have our own twists. You'll have to play the game to see.
Oh, of course, yeah. And who designed the art? Who drew these creatures?
One of my friends was one of the artists.
Okay. So do you? Because I suppose you just say something that looks. I say you don't want to say something that looks like Godzilla, but that sort of thing, but make him look cool and different.
Yeah, pretty much. We did also do a special idea where each monster has their own color palette, and each of the levels actually changes color based on like which monster is the one. So right now you see in the background you've got purple or pink and yellow. That's one color palette, and then you'll see some others based on which monsters there are.
Okay, I really like that at the side, because normally when it's like an isometric game, I feel that it's just black at the edge or you can't scroll, but you've got like a wall going up with a background, and I just think that's a really nice effect.
Yeah, it's like a diorama, and there's supposed to be destroyed cities or destroyed buildings ringing the area as if this is the last civilized or intact part of the city that you're defending right now.
Okay, yeah, I think that's really, I really like that artwork. It's very nice. So what made you go with a retro style for the graphics?
Well, we like the old games, like the Godzilla 2, but we want to kind of add a modern twist. We went with a kind of a retro dithering look where we use black dots to simulate color gradients, where each tile is basically one color, and then we use one color in black, and you can make gradients. Kind of looks like a little bit like comic books a little bit too. And why we did that? Well, 2D art is cheaper than 3D art.
Okay, I'm never sure because I'm no game developer. I did try using some of those pre-made ones, but they're obviously nowhere near as good. But I know a lot of people use things like Unity and the like, which everything seems to be going towards 3D now.
Yeah, 3D is fine. It's just expensive.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize it was actually more expensive. But,
definitely.
Yeah, okay. Because it's
you
nice.
got a whole, you got 2D and then you got 3D. That's a whole nother dimension. That's a lot more work.
Yeah, so there's a lot more work, isn't it? A lot more time for the artist to try and bring their idea.
Yeah, it's 10 times or 100 times more work. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not because everything is 3D now. It's nice when we see something in 2D. It's like, oh, that's refreshing.
So I guess a lot of the AAA games, most of them are 3D. There's lots and lots of indie games that are 2D.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So speaking of which, so you're an indie studio. You're how long have you been around for now?
I've been doing this full time for about 4 years now, and this is our second major release.
Okay, so when did Kaiju Wars come out? Was it quite a recent title? It was, isn't it? Or last year was it?
It was 2022. Yeah.
Okay, so it was last year. Okay, and how long was the development time for this then?
Slightly too long. 2 years.
2 years.
Should have made it shorter.
Well, 2 years doesn't sound too bad.
It's a long time to be working on the same thing.
Yeah, okay. Because I know some indie studios, I hear they work on things for 5 years. They're just
you can, but that's a terrible risk.
It's obviously I mean, if you're not getting funding and that is your job, then yes, that is probably not not the most time. If
it is your hobby, then take however long you want. But yeah.
Okay, so did you ever think, or did you ever go to Sony or Microsoft and say, fund my game? Because I know they often have their own indie programs, don't they, to try and get people on board their systems?
Oh yeah, we certainly asked, but they're very picky. In fact, Microsoft doesn't even have an outward-facing email. You can't contact them directly.
Does it not?
No.
God, because
they don't want to talk to people.
Listen, they always advertise themselves as, we're here, we're the gamers, and we love people, and we want to support them. So they've got their Idea Xbox program, and it sounds like they're doing everything they can to help indie developers. But perhaps
you can get your games on their platforms, but there's a difference between them funding your development than just putting your game on the Xbox Live store digitally. Okay. You can put your game on their store digitally. Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, so they don't mind you putting the content on, but they're not necessarily going to fund anyone that asks.
Yes, and specifically like Xbox Game Pass is very popular. Yes. You cannot contact them directly. They'll talk to you.
Okay. Well, that's a shame. You think they would be going around and sort of looking for talent?
I'm sure they do look through the internet, but they have to reach out to you.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting to know. I take it as that. Yeah. I imagine Sony and Steam do similar things, but yeah, good to know. So yeah. So I have to say I'm a Game Pass person, so I do tend to. There's so much content on there that it's hard to think, well, actually, I'll buy this game because I've got 50 titles that are included in the subscription, Definitely. Which is a blessing and a curse, it seems, because it must be hard. Not just for indie, for AAA, anyone to get noticed enough for people to splash out. But I saw your game, and then I looked on Metacritic, and it was, I think, 76. So it's very well received. And there was, I didn't see one negative thing about it. There were, some were like 8, 9 out of 10. Others were 6, 7, but nothing was ever bad. So well done.
Our score is a bit higher on OpenCritic. You should check out
OpenCritic. Yeah, I do hear people sometimes bomb Metacritic, don't they? If they don't like something, they'll just. It's not.
It can't happen.
No. But I say it sounds like you've done a very good game here, and I will be purchasing and playing it in the near future.
Excellent. I look forward to your review.
Yeah, I'll be putting that up. So, okay, so we've talked about the inspiration, which was the Godzilla games, Advance Wars, and then the Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, graphics, sound. What about the sound then? So how have you gone about? I take it it's a retro style soundtrack, isn't it? It's going to be like a 16-bit.
Yeah, it definitely. I guess lower fidelity soundtrack, kind of a retro. Our musician was really good, Kent Weiler. He did a great job making the music. It's all available on YouTube, and you can get the soundtrack on Steam as well. And the sound effects, each monster was kind of given a few fun sound effects. The giant ape, whenever you hear him, you'll often hear like tiny little bongo drum kind of riffs. If you listen, you'll hear some fun things.
Okay, that's cool. I like that you've thrown a few bits in there like that. And yeah, so I did see on Steam that you had the soundtrack available. So I was thinking, oh, that's always nice when you do that, because sometimes you can just switch off and listen to the music.
Yeah, that's right.
I would ask then, are there any Easter eggs in the game that Kaiju fans might recognize from certain films or games, or is it completely?
Oh, definitely. Just go to the main menu and you'll see a bunch.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, straight away it's thrown in there.
Yeah. If you go to the main menu, you'll see playing in the background a bunch of old creative old kaiju movies in the public domain playing on a bunch of TVs in the background, and you can cycle through the channels and take a look.
Oh, so you've actually got the films playing in the game? Well, sorry, in the game menu.
Yeah. And then they link directly to archive.org where they're in the public domain.
Oh, that's brilliant. And because it's public domain, there's about to say, because I don't know how you'll get a license from Toho to show a film, but
I'm afraid not them, no.
No. Oh, that's really nice. That's I don't know if you saw, but there was that game, Squanch Games did a game, I can't think of what it's called now. But there's a living room and there's a TV and it had loads of cheesy movies in. I remember one of them was Tammy and the T-Rex, and it had the whole movie in the game, so you could just sit down and watch the whole film in the game. And then there was also a movie theater where they had like 3 or 4 other films that were all sort of cheesy ones. But it's just great when things like that happen. It's like, okay, yeah, you can see where they're getting some of the inspiration from. You can literally watch it in the game.
That's right.
Not very often that happens.
So including the whole movie would add a few megabytes to the file size of the game.
Yeah, I take it that's, I guess, a Steam exclusive, isn't it? Because I don't think Xbox or Switch would link to archive.org, would they? I imagine.
It depends. You'd have to talk to their legal.
Okay. I was wondering, so if I go onto my Xbox, I probably wouldn't be able to click on the link, I don't think. But you never know. It's something I can try.
I don't think I've checked the Xbox version. I did have a publisher make the console ports.
Oh, did you? Okay. So I've never known. So you make the PC version, and I don't know how different I suppose a lot of the consoles are. Is it a similar architecture to PC, isn't it? So it's not, you're not rewriting it from scratch, but you have got to at least do all the inputs and debugging.
That's right. There are input differences, but mainly it's a long checklist of processes of they do a bunch of checks on your game to make sure it doesn't crash. The loading screens have to have certain specifications and how save files work, that sort of thing. Okay.
Yes, it's great to hear bits like this, because as someone who plays games, I have no idea about how they're made, or what efforts you have to go through to get them to where we want to play them.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot goes into it. They're pretty complicated.
Yeah, well, as you say, 2 years to make it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so were you just focusing on that one project, or are you also at that same time?
Just the one.
Just the one. Okay. Right. So I mean, obviously this is the game that we're here for, Kaiju Wars. But out of interest, what other games have you been working on in your studio?
Well, before Kaiju Wars, I made a World War II real-time strategy game called Radio General. And that was a game where it's your general sitting in a tent, and all you have in front of you is a map and a radio. And you actually speak into your microphone to talk to your troops. You can't see where they are. You have to ask them verbally. Able, report status. Baker, move to E3. And that was my first major game. It sold quite well. And now we're working on a sequel, a spiritual successor to that game called Real Time General, where it's a massively multiplayer game where up to 400 players recreate all of D-Day during World War II, and you play the game out over 2 months in real time.
Wow.
So when you tell your guys to march somewhere, we use real geography of France, and it'll take however long it would take in real life to march there, like 2 hours.
That's crazy. I've never heard of anything like that before.
There is nothing like it.
There is. That's really clever. I like that.
I hope so. We'll see how it turns out. A massively multiplayer game is very risky.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like your other games have done pretty well, so I don't think there's any reason not to think. I'll keep my fingers crossed, but it sounds like you're a good studio and you know what you're doing.
I hope so. Thank you.
Right, I think I know everything I want to know about the game. It sounds fantastic. I'll definitely be picking it up. Is there anything else that you want to mention about it?
Yeah, you can actually name the kaiju in game. You can give them nicknames if you want. So whenever they pop up, you can give them a nickname that is quite humorous. You also do have ace units you can get during the game. These are your elite military units, and you can also name them and upgrade them with medals you earn from missions. So there's some cool customization aspect.
Okay, yeah. So it's not just level by level going through it. There's an upgrade system as well to it.
There is some progression. I mean, the game is level based. There's over 50 missions in the campaign, but you do earn medals to upgrade your units, and then also some slight amount of deck building, where you can recruit scientists and then play cards to develop the cities and the missions, where you build harbors and buildings and upgrade units within a mission.
Okay, are they random cards that just to like alter the gameplay, or well, not alter the gameplay as such, but to give you buffs or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen a few games that do that, and it does mix it up a bit because you can pick and choose. Sometimes you can pick and choose from a pack of these different cards to how your play style works. I think that's just adds an extra element.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm now going to ask, if nothing else, is there anything that you would like to recommend, Michael, to our audience? Is there any other games or movies or anything that you've enjoyed that you think our listeners would enjoy?
Well, I guess Earth Defense Force was pretty cool. You should check that out if you enjoy blasting giant bugs and don't have a bug phobia. Yeah, giant spiders can bother some people.
That's true. A friend and I played Grounded, which is where it's basically like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and you're in the back garden, and a spider comes along, and it's terrifying. My friend couldn't play it anymore, and then they added in a slider where you could de-spiderize it, and so it would remove its legs, and then its eyes, and then its body, and so it'd just be a little bump, so you could play the game without being scared. It's
it
is what it is. It's funny. But yeah, I obviously I have no problem with video game spiders or ants. For myself, I guess I should recommend Ultraman because I've been watching that and enjoying it. But I do want to obviously recommend Kaiju Wars on whatever platform you choose. I said I'm building up my digital library on Xbox because I've been with them for about a decade now, so I think I'll purchase it there and I'll have a play and do some uploads for everyone to watch on our YouTube channel, so definitely stay tuned for that. But unless there's anything else, Michael, from you?
No, it was great. Thanks for having me, Paul.
Okay, well, Michael, thanks very much for coming us. I hope everyone's enjoyed the episode, and until next time, keep it kaiju.
Keep it kaiju.